Hello, I'm going to show you how to fold an origami star. These are made out of washi paper that has been gel printed, but you can fold it out of origami paper, plain paper, whatever you want to fold it out of. And it might be good to practice with a plain sheet first, but these are folded from an 8-inch square. This is folded from a 6-inch square. And we have to make it into a pentagon first. So let me show you how you do that. So here's how you make the pentagon. You're going to start with your color side up and you're going to fold it in half. Now I'm just using some scrapbook paper that I cut into 8-inch square, but you can use plain paper. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make some folds that are diagonal, but you're not really going to fold it all the way. You're going to mark the spot in the center. So I'm folding, kind of getting this edge up to line up with the top so that it comes to a point, but I'm not going to crease this. I'm just finding that center, and I'm going to just make a little pinch right in the center, right here. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to find that top edge so that it lines up right at the top, and that this left side comes to a point, and I'm going to pinch it right in this spot. So what I'll have is a little X. Right, you can see a little mark that's right here, this little X mark. Now I've got my folded edge, and I'm going to take my folded edge, and I'm going to take it, bring that folded edge in that little corner. This little corner is going to park right into that little, where that X intersects. So I'm just going to make that, fold it right here, and then crease. Just want to make sure it lines up though before I make that crease. Now I've got it creased. Now I have my folded edge here and this long edge here. I'm going to fold this backwards and basically in half with the point, with the fold starting at the bottom, so that this lines up to a point down at the bottom. And we want to make sure all this is nice and lined up before we crease. Then you make a crease. And then what you're going to do is take this, we have the folded edge at the bottom, we're going to take that edge and we're going to line it up to this edge that we just, the crease that we just made. So we're just going to fold this right to make a nice, make it line up so that this comes to a nice sharp point, and this lines up, and here we've got that nice, this happening here. So now I'm going to just take this and I'm going to fold it backwards. So I'm going to fold it so that it folds along that center crease, or that center opening. And I'm just going to do it by turning it over and then folding. So I've got all the components here lined up. Now you can see there's a lot of layers. This is where I'm going to cut the pentagon. So I'm taking a pair of long scissors. You can use anything you want. And I'm noticing too that this is not lined up perfectly. So I'm going to line that up, that edge, before I make that cut. You want everything to line up really nice. So now I'm going to take that and I'm going to just make one straight cut right at the top of that raw edge. And now what I have is a perfect pentagon. And a lot of the folding has been done for me. All these pre-creases are already done. So all we need to do is we start to make our pentagon. So I'm going to take, actually I'm going to turn it over so you can see. I want these flat edges to go up to these folds, these little creases here. So I'm just taking that flat edge, and I'm going to bring these corners to meet those creases, and then I'm going to make sure also this lines up, and then I'm going to flatten. And we're going to do the same thing on all of the edges. So I'm going to turn it and take that edge, flat edge, bringing it up to those creases, or this point, and then crease. Open it up, turn it, and bring these points to these crease lines, and I'm going to bring that straight up, making sure everything's lined up before I make that crease, and then crease. I'm going to do it 2 more times, bringing up this edge, and then crease, and then 1 more time until you see a pentagon in the middle. I'm going to bring these points to this part of this crease, and then there I go. So you can see inside there's a pentagon shape on the inside, and there's one more thing we need to do. We're going to take this edge. We're going to take this point. We're going to make a point. Basically, it's going to define this part of the pentagon shape. And we're going to just bring these together. And what you're going to do is after you've brought that point together, you're going to just you're making a new crease, and you're just laying that down, and then you'll feel the crease underneath. Okay, so we're going to do this on all sides. So open it up, turn it. We're going to take this point and we're going to bring it up. You can see I'm just kind of bringing it and folding it down. I'm not making any new creases except for what's underneath, and just pressing underneath. Open it, rotate, take this point. There's 5 points on this. I'm going to just create that point. You can see that little pentagon, and I'm going to lay that down and create a new crease that's underneath. And I'm going to do the same thing until I've gotten all 5 points done. I'm going to take this, if you see there, is where I make that point, where I make that fold, and then I just drop it down and make the new crease. And I think I have one more to go. So I'm taking this, I'm going to define that, find the outside point of the pentagon, and I'm going to just press those 2 points together and lay down a crease. Now you can see all the pre-folding is done. So we have a pentagon in the center, and we have all these creases. Now the next thing we're going to do, this is where it takes a little practice, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. But what you'll need to do is on the inside, not on the points, we're going to focus on the insides. We take, or the flat edges. We're going to take these and we're just going to collapse them inward. And we're going to do this by just taking our hands and just taking not the edges, but just the center. And you're just going to bring that in. All of those center pieces go in. And when that happens, it all magically lays down into the star shape. You can see it on both sides, how it looks. And then what you're going to do is you're going to turn it over, and we're going to create the narrow edges of the star. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take this edge, and I'm going to bring this flat edge to line up along this crease. So I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to just make sure that the point comes to a nice point. And you can kind of work with that until it gets to a nice sharp point, and just give it a good crease, rotate it, and do the same thing. We're going to line this edge up. This edge is going to just lay right where the center creases are, and we're going to just get it to a nice point and then crease it really well. And if you happen to have a folder or the Yasutomo bamboo folding tool, this is great because it gives you that nice creases. We're going to also take every side. We're going to do this too, but there's a little difference on the last side. So I'm just going to take that, fold it in, and find that sharp tip before I crease, and then just crease. And this is the last one. No, we have one more. So I'm going to bring this over, fold it to the nice sharp point, and I notice I have a little white showing on that, and I know how to get rid of that. A little bit of white edge, but normally it doesn't show. But if it does, you can fix that. Now the very last one is what we need to do is take this piece and kind of fold it backwards just a little bit so that it's out of the way, and you're going to take the under layer and you're going to make a point just like you did, and then crease it underneath while it's underneath, and then lay that other one right back on top. And there you have your star. Now I'm noticing the little white is showing, so I can easily trim that off to make a perfect point, because my pentagon might not have been perfect. So I'm able to just trim that very, very lightly, trim that white edge that's showing, and now I have this beautiful star. You can glue the part down, you can put a little hole at the top for an ornament, you can kind of readjust, like I notice here, it needs to be readjusted. And then you can write something on the back. You've got a little space to write on the back. And like I mentioned, I'm showing you these are made with washi paper. This is our 6H paper. Most of them are 6H. And the thinner the paper, the more flat the star. And if you have a thicker paper, it kind of becomes more 3D. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you enjoy making stars.